Assalamualaikum students. So today we'll be solving the practice paper for 4024. That is according to the new syllabus. We'll be solving paper one. So calculators are not allowed, and the total time is 2 hours, and the total marks for this paper is 100. So this is the first part. Let's try to solve some questions. The first question is asking us to write down the order of the rotational symmetry of the diagram. So order of rotational symmetry tells us that if we rotate it 360 degrees, how often do we get the exact same shape? So if we try to rotate this 360 degrees, how often do we end up getting the same shape? So when we rotate it 180 degree, we get the exact same shape. And then when we again complete the 360-degree rotation, we get the same shape back again. So the order of rotational symmetry is 2. I hope this will help you revise the topics as well that are a part of your syllabus and will be tested in exam. Question number 2, Dora records the temperature at 6 a.m. every day for 7 days. These are the temperatures in degrees centigrade. Write these temperatures in the order of sizes starting with the lowest. Now we know in negative, the most negative value is -5, the smallest value. Then comes -4. Then it's -2. Then it's -1. Then it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it's 1. And it's 3. So these are the 7 values when we are talking about size. The most negative is the one with the greatest value and the negative sign, and eventually the values increase. Moving on to part B, work out the difference between the highest and the lowest temperature. I'll also try to address the topic and not just solve the question. So whenever the question asks you to find difference, you take the higher value and you subtract it from the lower value. That is how you generally find difference. So this one, it is asking us the difference between the highest and the lowest temperature. The highest is 3, minus and the lowest is -5. So the difference is 8. 3 plus 5, which leads to the answer coming as 8. And then it is asking us to find the median temperature. Median means the middle value. We have 7 values, 7 of data that we have collected. We can find the median position by n plus 1 upon 2n being the number of readings, 7 plus 1 divided by 2. That means 4th is the median position. 1, 2, 3, and 4. -1 is my median. You would have been able to see it just by looking at the values as well, but I just wanted to review how to find the median position. So median is -1. Moving on to the third question. And the question wants us to put brackets to make sure that the equations are correct. Now, if there were no brackets, we'll be following BODMAS. 16 will divide by 8 first, we'll get the value 2, and 4 will multiply by 2 first, we'll get the value 8. 4 plus 8 is 12, and the value is going to be 12. So if we want to put brackets, see, the division will automatically be the first process. What if I put the brackets in this one? Let's see what happens then. 8 plus 4 is 12. And then first 16 will divide by 12. And then it will multiply by 2. So it will not give me an accurate answer. It will not give me an integer 1. Okay, what if I put the brackets like this? 4 2s are 8. 8 plus 8 is, again, we'll still have to follow BODMAS. 8 plus 8 is 16. This will result in 8 plus, I'll multiply first 8, 16 divided by 16, and the answer is 1. So these set of brackets will be used for part A. For part B, we need the value 12. So if I just choose 16 divided by 8, This should obviously, even if I would not have put the bracket, this would have the first process. This will give me the answer as 16 divided by 8 is 2. Sorry, I copied that 4, but this is supposed to be 2. And 2 plus 4 into 8 is going to give me 10. I need a bigger value. I do not need 10. I need the value as 12. Okay, what if I would have done this? Again, 16 will first divide by 8, which will give me 2. 2 plus 4 is 6, and then 6. This will give me 2. 2 plus 4 is 6, and then that 6 will multiply by 2, and the answer will be 12. So these are the set of brackets that we are supposed to put. We are not supposed to write this. I've just written it for your understanding. This is not supposed to be written. It is, the question just wants you to put the bracket. So moving on to question number 4. The question wants us to find the value of x. Now, as they have marked these two lengths the same and they have mentioned that AB is equals to BC, it's an isosceles triangle. And if this is x, this will also be equal to x. Now, the best way to do is 50 degree is what we call the exterior angle. The exterior angle is the sum of two opposite interior angles. So I can just say 50 should be equal to x plus x, which is 2x. And x will be equal to 25. But most of you, I've rarely seen students using this property, which it is a very good property, but students do not prefer to use this. The other way that you could have done the same question was, if this is 150, you could have found the angle B, which is 180 minus 150, and 180 minus 50, sorry, so the answer is 130. And then you could have taken 130 plus 2x is 180. It's the same thing, 180 minus 130, a very long process. 50, and x will again be equal to 25 degrees. So I hope that most of you are able to use this method, as it's a shorter and easier method when an exterior angle is equals to the sum of two opposite interior angles of a triangle. This is property is valid for all triangles. Moving on to question number 5. Find an expression for the perimeter of this triangle. Perimeter is the total sum of the boundaries, total length of the boundaries. So one length is 3a plus b, the other is 4a minus b, and the other is a plus 2b. So I've simply added all the lengths. Now we can rearrange all the like terms with each other, plus b minus b and 2. So the perimeter should be equal to 3a plus 4 is 7, 7 plus another a is 8a plus 2b. This is what the perimeter should look like if you have written everything correctly. For a, oh, my bad, for a minus 5b, this is supposed to be minus 5b. So plus b minus 5b, and then this is minus 4, and plus 2 should give me the answer as minus 2b. I hope I haven't made any silly error in noting down the values from the figure. And then the question asks us in question number 6, it wants us to find the area of the trapezium. Again, as I told you, I'm not only solving the questions, I'll try to refer to the concept that is involved in solving the question as well. So the area of a trapezium is half into height into sum of parallel sides. Now, sum means I'll add them. So area is half, height is 6, one parallel side is 7, and the other is 11. So if you cancel these, obviously you can cancel it, use smaller numbers, do not go for bigger numbers as it increases your chance of error. This will be 3, and I'll get 3 into 7 plus 11 is 18. So the area will be 54. 18 threes are 54 centimeters square. This is what you should end up with. If anyone is unable to understand anything, feel free, write a comment or let me know if you're unable to understand it. Now the question wants us to write this as a percentage. Now, it's very easy to convert any fraction into a percentage. We just need to multiply the fraction by 100. And obviously we can simplify 0, 0 cancelled out. So 5% is what we should end up at. I'll just do the cancellations for you so that you are able to understand how to attend paper one. Zeros and 0 cancelled out. Two ones are 2 and 5s are 10. So the answer is 5%. Converting a fraction into a percentage, you only need to multiply the fraction by. Now the next is regarding a recurring decimal. If you're unable to understand recurring decimal, you can obviously go to my video. I have made an entire video for the recurring decimals. Now let this be 0. Let this be x. Again, this is 0.222 and it goes on and on forever. So I'll just multiply this by 10. That will give me 2.222 and the decimal goes on and on forever. 2.22222 and that was 0.222. So if I take 10x and I subtract it from x, 10x is 2.222 and the decimal goes on minus 0.222. So when I subtract them, all the recurring decimals, they get cancelled out and the value that I end up with is 2. So basically 10x minus x is 2, which is 9x. And the value of x is 2 upon 9. This is a recurring decimal. Do not make the error of considering it just as 0.2 and the dot as a misprint. It is a recurring decimal. I hope this is clear. Now, the next question is about transformations. I'll try to address a few concepts of transformations in this one. So be very careful in understanding this question and not only try to get to the solution. So the first part is asking us, describe fully the single transformation that maps triangle A onto triangle B. Now, how is A mapped onto B? You can clearly see that it is not a reflection, it is a rotation. Now, when it is a rotation, we are supposed to tell the center, the angle, and the direction. All three things about the rotation: center, angle, and direction. So if you see the coordinates, it's 2, 1, and 2, 1 has been rotated to minus 1, 2. This is 2, 2 that has gone on to, let me pinpoint it. This is 2, 1, and this has become minus 1, 2. This is 2, 2, and this has rotated on to minus 2, 2. And this is 5, 1, and it has gone on to become minus 1, 5. Now, I've told students that when you are rotating and the coordinates are only switching values or signs or positions, and the value is not changing. 5 does not become 4, 4 does not become 7. Only the values and the signs are changing. 2, comma 1 becomes minus 1, comma 2. So they change their values in the signs. Whenever this is a case with rotation, the center is always the origin. Or you can also make perpendicular bisector using arcs and get to the center. So the center is origin, which is 0, 0. The angle is 90 degrees. And if you see A, how are you rotating A? It is going anti-clockwise 90 degrees. So how will you write it? You're supposed to write everything. You're first supposed to tell that it is a rotation. Rotation of 90 degrees anti-clockwise about 0, 0, which is the origin. So this is how you can get the entire mark. Please be very careful with the wordings A onto B. A is the object and B is the transformed image. Moving on to the second part, it says triangle A onto triangle C, A onto C. Now it is just translation. You can pick any point and try to understand it through vectors, that how did A come to C. If I take this point and I see how much am I moving, in the x direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And how much am I moving in the y direction? So I'll go till that point. 1, 2, and 3, negative, because I'm going down. So it is a translation by, if I have moved to the left, that means negative in x, 6 steps in x, and 3 steps in y, both are negative. So I'll write it as translation by, and I can just write the vector of translation, which is the movement in x and the movement in y. So the movement in x is -6 as I've gone to the left, and the movement in y is -3. You could have taken a rigorous method of using the object and the image coordinates and subtracting them to get your translation as well. But right now I'm focused on the easier methods to help you the questions in exam. Okay, next is the triangle A onto triangle D. And you see triangle A onto triangle D. You can clearly see that it is an enlargement. A is being enlarged onto D, and the image is not flipped or rotated in any way whatsoever. So it is enlargement with a positive scale factor. I'll be using the straight lines from object to image to figure out my center, object to image, and I'll extend those lines to know my center. I'll make the same with another set of lines. And wherever these lines intersect, see what did I do? I took the object, the image and the object, joined the corresponding points, extended the lines, and where do these lines meet? 6, comma 4. This is my center. Scale factor can also be figured out by taking any image length. If I'm taking this as the image length, which is 3, and dividing it by the object length, which is 1. So 3 divided by 1 is 3. So it is an enlargement A onto D. Be very careful with the wordings. Enlargement by the enlargement with the scale factor 3, and center is 6, comma 4. Now, one last part on the grid. The question wants me to draw the triangle A after reflection in the line y is equals to -1. Triangle A को reflect करना है. I need to reflect triangle A, and line is y is equals to -1. Let me draw this line. What should I do? Let's take a dark gray color. Y is equals to -1. This is a line of y is equals to -1, and now I need to reflect A. Reflection, I know jitna dur the object is from the line of reflection, image distance from the line of reflection is the same. So this point is 2 units away from the line. I'll get the same point over here. And similarly, I can make the other 2 points as well. 2 over here, 2 over here, and this one is 3 unit away. So that will be 3 unit away. And now I can just join these points to get my reflected image. And this is the answer to, if the question is not asked you to name it, you better write the part that you are referring to. This is the answer to part B. This will help you scoring mark. I just try to. So this is your answer to part B. On to question number 9. Okay, Roberto buys a toy at $5. He sells the toy for $4.6. I'll help you with the rough working as well in this question. Calculate his percentage loss. So if I wanted to calculate his loss, I will have to take 5 and subtract 4.6 from it, which means that the loss is of $0.4. Now, percentage loss, I'll take the loss, which is 0.4, divided by the original value, which was 5, and then multiply it by 100. So now we can easily cancel these out. 5 ones are 5 and 5 20s are, right? So 20 into 0.4, 20, and you multiply it by 0.4. Imagine as if you do not have a decimal and you multiply 0 and 8. When the final answer comes, move the decimal 1 place to the left, and your loss is of 8%. That is the percentage loss. Moving on to question number 10. Work out this, give your answer as a fraction in the simplest form. First, we'll convert these mixed numbers into fraction. 4 ones are 4 plus 3 is 7 upon 4 minus 11 upon 12. We'll have to make the denominator same. So we'll multiply this by 3. We'll also need to multiply the numerator by 3. So this will become, the denominator will become 12. Common denominator 7 will multiply by 3 minus 11. 7 3s are 21 minus 11, which leaves the answers as 10 upon 12. Simplify both of these with 2 5s are and 2 6s are 12. So the final answer is 5 upon 6. And then we have the number 216 as a product of the prime factors. So what do we need to do in this question when it is a product of prime factors? We'll do prime factorization for 216. Okay. So we'll start with 2, 1, and 6. First, we will divide it by 2. 2 ones are 2, 2 zeros are 0, and 2 8s are 16. And then we will further divide that by 2. 2 5s are 10, and 2 4s are 8. And then we will divide this by 2. 27. We'll divide this by 3. 9. And so I'll divide it by 27, divide that by 3, and I'll get 9. Then I'll further divide that by 3. I'll get 3, and then divide that by 3. Get the answer as 1. So I have 3 2s and I have 3 3s. So I can say 216 is basically 2 cube into 3 cube. Okay, now in part B, these kinds of questions often confuse students, although they should not, but they do. Okay, let's read the question. 2 positive integers are each greater than 25. The lowest common multiple is 216. So if I were to tell you that 216 has both the numbers in it, now 216 is 2 into 2 into 2. I'm deliberately writing it this way, into 2 into 3 into 3 into 3. Now this number has both those integers in it. The integer can be 2 2s and 2 3s, but this has both those integers. So I'm calling one integer the integer 1 and the other one as integer 2. And the HCF is 18. So if I prime factorize 18, 18 is 2 into 3 into 3. So that means 2 into 3 is highest common factor for both the numbers. I do not know the numbers, but these are the common factors for both. That means the first integer will also have them and the second integer will also have them, and they will have nothing else that will be common between the two. Okay, so now if I were to find, that means that 2 and 2 threes were due to both of them being common in both the numbers. Now, why, in order to find the LCM, why did I need the two twos and the one three? That means these two were needed because of one of the numbers, and the three was needed for the other number. I cannot say that the two was due to one number and the other two was due to the other number, or else then the two would have become a part of the HCF as well. So these are the numbers, the two integers that I will end up at. And I could not have also said that both the twos and the threes belong to one of the integers, or else both the integers would not have been able to become more than 18. So both have to be more than 18, and both have highest common factor, as it both have to be greater than 25, sorry, and need to have a highest common factor of 18. So अगर मैं ये कहता कि एक ही number में 2, 2 and 3 all three exist in one numbers, the other number would not have been able to become greater than 25. So I know 18 ही है, so n1 is 18 into 4, and the other integer n2 is 18 into 3. So 18 threes are 3 eights are 24, 4 and 2, 54, and 18 fours are 2, 72. So these are the two numbers, 72 and 54. Moving on, question number 12. So moving on to question number 12, we need to find these four values. I'll tell you the approach because that is what confuses you people the most. Because there are so many lines and everything, and it becomes very difficult to comprehend how to figure out which property to apply. And I'll urge you to understand the properties as well a little. In this part, it will help you. Okay, first and foremost, I always tell students to read these descriptions because some of the data might not be present in the figure, might be written or mentioned over here. The ABCD lie on circle center O. TA is a tangent, already know that. Angle ABC is 131 written, and angle ADB is 20 degrees. And is that mentioned in the figure? Yes, it is. So all the data almost that is mentioned in the description is also written, or is also mentioned in the figure as well. So I do not need to go to the description again. So these are the four angles that I need to find: ADC. So the first angle that I'm supposed to find is ADC. I'll tell you the approach of doing these questions. A, D, and C. This is the angle I'm looking for. So I always tell students, trace it back. Where do these lines come from? One of the lines is coming from A, and the other one is coming from C. Any other lines coming out of A and C and meeting at the center or the circumference? Yes, they are also meeting at O, but I do not know that angle too. And they are also meeting at B. That means A, B, C, D is a cyclic quadrilateral, all 4 points touching the circumference. If this entire angle B is 131, ADC will simply be 180 minus 131 because they are opposite angles of a cyclic quadrilateral and they are supplementary. So this should give you the value as 49. Now, AOC. Again, we just figured out that the lines coming out of A and C are meeting at D, which is the circumference. So when the same lines from A and C two lines, one from A and the other from C, will meet at the center. The angle will be double the angle of circumference. So at the circumference, they were making 49. So the same chord will make that double that angle at the center, which is 2 times 49, and I should end up at 98 degrees. Then it is angle BAD. Angle BAD. This is the angle between tangent and a chord, and they are making this angle in the minor segment. So when the same chord AB will make any angle in the major segment, which is actually ADB, it will be the same angle. So at the circumference, this angle is 20. This will also be 20. This is called the angles in alternate segment. So ये भी 20 degree होगा simply. Then the angle OAB. Angle OA and B. This is the angle I'm looking for. Now OA is the radius and AT is a tangent, so they should add up to become 90. And I need OAB, so I'll simply subtract 90, 20 from 90, so I should get the answer as 70 degrees. That is my angle OAB. Moving on to question number 13. Now, this is a very easy one. The question wants me to write this as an ordinary number. So simply 1.48. Exponent 5 means 1 and it has 5 zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll move it 5 decimals to the right, 1, 4, 8, and then 3 more zeros. So the decimal will move 5 places to the right, and this is what I should end up with. Okay, now next part is about cubing this. Because they are multiplying, I'll say it is 3 cube times exponent minus 3 will also multiply by 3. And the answer will be 27 exponent minus 9. So now this number is greater than 10. I'll reduce the number. So I'll increase the exponent minus 9 plus 1. So 2.7 exponent minus 8. Then the next part is about vectors, and I need to write down the vector 2p plus q. So 2p plus q. So 2 times I'll write the vector p, 4 and 6. Remember, it's not a fraction, it is a vector. Some of you make this very silly error of 2p plus q minus 2 and then 7. So first it will multiply with 2. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 2 is 12. And then I'll simply do 8 plus minus 2 and 12 plus 7. So the answer that I'll get is 6 and 19. Then in the next part, it wants us to find the magnitude of P. So what is the vector P? 4 and 6. And how do we find the magnitude? Square root karke, and we just take x square, y square. So for a magnitude of any vector, we do x square plus y square. And again, for P, the movement in x is basically 4 and the movement in y is 6. So this should give me 16 plus 36, which is 52. Now, when I do prime factorization for 52, because I need to simplify the third, I cannot leave my answer like this. 52 to 26, and then to 30, and 13, 1. So this is basically 2 into 2 into 13. So 2 will come out of the root, and only 13 is what remains inside the root. So moving on to question 15, triangle ABC is similar to triangle PQR. Area of triangle ABC is 15 centimeters square. Calculate the area of triangle PQR. For similar figures, we know that the ratio of areas can be obtained by taking the ratio of lengths and squaring them. So if I'm saying area of PQR is my A1, my A2 is 15. Similarly, the length of PQR will be in the numerator and the length of ABC will be in the denominator. It depends on us, but we should be consistent with the ratios. So let's simplify 6 and 12. That should be 1 or 2 and 1. So 2 ka square, and that will multiply by 15. So A will be 4 times 15, which is 60 centimeters square. Moving on to part B. The triangles are the cross sections. The triangles are the cross sections of prisms, which are also mathematically similar. The volume of the smaller prism is 300 centimeter cube. Calculate the length of the larger prism. Now, we must know that volume of a prism is area of cross section multiplied by length. So if I wanted to, it has asked me the length of the larger prism. So I'll try to find the volume of the larger one. And that can be obtained by taking the ratio of lengths and cubing it. We know the ratio of lengths to volume of larger is V. The smaller one is 300. The ratio large upon small is already, we have figured it out, it is 2. 12 upon 6 was 2. So I'll just write 12 upon 6 to avoid confusion. This will end up being 2. So volume will be 8 times 300. Now we know volume, this is the volume of the larger prism. That can also be written as area into length. I'm not multiplying with them so as to keep the numbers small. The area, we figured out it is 60, and we needed to find the length. So 8 times 300. So length is 8 times 300 upon 60. Then zeros and 0 cancelled out. This 0 and 0 cancelled out. 6 ones are and 5s are. 5 8s are 40 centimeter is the length of the larger one. Moving on to question number 16. Now it has asked us h of 3. What does that mean? I need to plug in input p in the function h. So that will be 4 to the power 3, which is basically the cube of 4 is 64. Then part B, they have provided us with the domain of the function f. Domain means allowed input. That means they have told us that we can plug in values from -4 to 4 in the function f. So it is a straight line, and from -4, it's a positive gradient straight line. And the inputs that have been allowed are from -4 to +4. So if I plug in -4, what is the output that I get in function fx? So f of -4 is 3 times -4 plus 2, -12 plus 2, which means 10. So when I plug in -4, the output is 10. Similarly, when I plug in +4, what is the output that I get? So I get 10. And when I plug in 4, what is the output that I get? I'm visualizing a graph. 4, 3 times 4 plus 2. 4s are 12, 12 plus 2 is 14. Sorry, this is supposed to be -10, +14. So -10 and for this it is 14. So the range of function will be from -10. It will be in between -10 and 14, greater than or equal to -10, less than or equal to 14. Moving on to part C, it has asked me to find FG1. So I need to find G1 and then I need to plug it in F. So G of 1 is x squared plus 1. So 1 squared plus 1. G of 1 is 1 plus 1 is 2. Now I need to plug it in F. 3 into 2 plus 2. 3 2s are 6. 6 plus 2 is 8. This is one way of doing it. Another way is forming the composite function f gx. I'll plug in the entire function of gx in f. 3 times x squared plus 1 plus 2. This was my fx. And in place of x, I've plugged in the entire function x squared plus 1. So 3 times x squared plus 1 plus 2. And now I can just plug in 1 in this one. In this composite function, 3 times 1 plus square plus 1 plus 2. 3, 1 plus 1 is 2. And the answer is again 8. So fg of 1 is 8. Now the last one, not the last one, the second last part of this one, part B. Again, now it wants us to form g of fx. So I need to plug in gx was x squared plus 1 and fx was 3x plus 2. So I need to plug in the entire fx in g, 3x plus 2 squared plus 1. In place of this x, I need to plug in the entire function fx. This is what the composite gfx means. So gfx, but we need to give the answer in expanded form. I'll expand this 9x squared plus 2, 3 the 6, 6 2s are 12x plus 4 plus 1. If you want, you can make 2 brackets and square, multiply those 2 brackets because that is what square means. Something multiplying by itself plus 12x plus 5. So this is the composite function we should end up at. And Now we move on to the last part, which is f inverse of x. So y is equals to 3x plus 2x is my input, y is my output. I want it to be the other way around. Y minus 2 is 3x. I'll make x the subject, and now y can be my input. And for input, I'll be using the variable x. This is how we can form an inverse function. This is my output and this is my input in the initial function. When I turn it around, now I want this to be the input. And for input, we use the variable x. So this is how we get an inverse function. So moving on to question 17, the region R is defined by these three inequalities. X is greater than equal to 2, y is greater than equal to x, and 2x plus y is less than equal to. First and foremost, we need to make lines because we cannot define the inequalities without actually drawing the lines. So first, we'll try to draw the line of x is equals to 2. X is equals to 2 is a vertical line. We start from 2 and it will go up. So at this line, x is equals to 2. On the right of this line, x will be greater than 2, as you can see from the values as well and knowing the basic concept of graph. On the left of this line, x is less than equal. So I need the region where x is greater than equal to 2. And according to the syllabus update, we'll now shade the region which is not required. The unwanted region will be shaded. So I want the region x is greater than equal to 2. I want the right region. So I'll just shade the left one because I do not want it. This is x. The region that I've shaded is the unwanted one. X is greater than equal to is on the right. Now the next is y is equals to x. So if I want to draw a line of y is equals to x, a very basic line passes through the origin and the x coordinate is equal to the y coordinate. So I'll just start a line which passes through the origin and ends at 8, 8. Because when x is 8, y will also be 8. This is the line of y is equal to x. On this line, y is equal to x. The region that I need is y is greater than equal to x. So I need the region above this line. Because when I go up, y becomes greater, y increases, y becomes greater than x. On this line, it is equal to x. Above this line, it is greater than x. And below this line, it is less than x. So I need the region above the line. I do not need the region below the line. So I'll be shading the unwanted region, the region that I do not want, which is below this line. All of this is not required. Now, in the third part, it is asking me so the next is 2x plus y is equal to 8. In order to draw this line, I'd be needing 2 points. Let's see, can we have those 2 points easily? People want to tabulate those 2 points. You can do that too. You will just tabulate the 2 points. So if I plug in x as 0 in this one, x for 0 plug in karo, 2 zeros are 0. The value of y is 8. So when x is 0, y is 8. This is one point that I have. Another point that I can take is x is p. 2 3s are 6. This goes on that side. Y is 2. So when x is 3, y is 2. Now 2 points are good enough to draw a straight line. This is the equation of the line. On this line, 2x plus y is equal to 8. Now we are focused on the positive y. That is what we look at. We want the positive y to be less than or equal. Again, on this line, it is 2x plus y is equal to 8. Above this line, 2x plus y will be greater than equal to 8, and 2x below this line, 2x plus y will be lesser than equal to 8. So I need the region 2x plus y is lesser than equal to 8. So I'll just be shading the region above this line, which is unwanted. So I'll eventually automatically end up with the required region once I've shaded all the unwanted parts. And that region is R, and we must label it. So this is the region R because lines were drawn bold because it is written equal to. If equal to was not present in the inequality, then remember to draw dashed or broken lines. Okay, so Tanya plants some seeds. The probability that a seed will produce flowers is 0.8. When a seed produces flowers, the probability that the flowers are red is 0.6. When a seed produces flowers, the probability that the flowers are yellow is 0.3. Tanya has a seed that produces flowers. Find the probability that the flowers are not red and are not yellow. So once it produces the seeds, the probability of the total probability is supposed to be 1, and out of that 0.6 is the probability of producing red, 0.3 is the probability of producing yellow. If I subtract that from 1, I'll end up getting 0.1, which is the probability that they are neither red nor yellow. In the second part, it wants us to complete the tree diagram. And looking at it, 0.8 is the probability of producing flowers, 0.2 is the probability of not producing flowers. For red, the question told us the probability is 0.6. For yellow, once it produces this flowers is 0.3. And other colors, we have just figured it out is 0.1. So this is the tree diagram that we will fill. Now moving on to the second part. Tanya chooses a seed at random. Find the probability that this seed produces red flower. Now, which path will we be following for red flower? We want it to produce seed, and we want it to produce red flowers. And the probability is in a single path always multiply. So it produces a seed, which means 0.8, and it has red flowers. It will multiply by 0.6. The answer will be 0.48. Still, you are unable to understand decimal multiplications, feel free to comment, and I'll try to explain it in a different video. Moving on to part 3. Tanya chooses a seed at random. Find the probability that this seed does not produce red flowers and does not produce yellow flowers. The question is very specific. It does not want it to produce red or yellow flowers, and every other thing is acceptable. So, looking at it, it produces a seed of any other color. This can happen, or it does not produce a seed at all. So, first thing is it produces a seed, and that is of a different color. So we multiply or add up the second part. It does not produce a seed at all. So 0.08 plus 0.2, the answer is 0.28. So even now, if you are unable to understand the rough working of decimal addition or decimal multiplication, feel free to let me know. Next, question 19. Ella's height is 175 centimeter. Correct to the nearest 5 centimeters. This is a question of limits of accuracy. Write down the upper bound of Ella's height. So what do we do? Nearest 5 centimeters, divide that 5 by 2, 2.5. And upper bound of her height will be found by taking the value, rounded off value, and adding 2.5, which means 177.5 centimeter is the upper bound of Ella's height. Now, in the next one, it is telling me Raphael's height is 161 centimeter. Correct to the nearest centimeter, which means 1 centimeter. Work out the upper bound of the difference between Ella's height and Raphael's height. I have already told you people for difference is generally higher value minus lower value. So higher value is Ella's height. So if I want this difference to be as high as possible, I want it to have the upper bound of the difference. So Ella's height, I will take upper bound of Ella's height. Subtracted from the lower bound of Raphael's height. Why? Because I want the difference to be as greater as possible. So I want the first value to be as high as possible and the second to be as low as possible. Upper bound of Ella's height is 177.5 minus lower bound of Raphael 161. Means I'll subtract 1 centimeter dividing by 2. This is how I can find the upper bound of the difference, which means the greatest value. 1 upon 2 is 0.5. 177.5 minus 116.5. So if you subtract decimals from the decimals, the answer that you should end up getting is 17 centimeters. Moving on to question number 20, which is regarding kinematics. The question has provided us with a speed time graph and it wants us to calculate the acceleration for the first 2 minutes. Speed time graph and acceleration can be found by taking the gradient of the line. And for the gradient, I can take any 2 points. Let's take one as 0, 0, and the other is 10, 120, and t. So gradient, which is the acceleration, y2 minus y1, 20 minus 0 upon x2 minus x1. So acceleration is 20 upon 120, and when you simplify it, 0, 0 cancelled, 1 upon 6 meter per second squared. The next part wants us to calculate the average speed for the whole journey and give our answer in meters per second. So if I want the average speed for the entire journey, average speed is calculated by taking total distance traveled, and dividing that by total time. So I need to find the total distance. Total distance through a speed time graph can be found by taking area under the graph. This is the trapezium. I can figure out the height of this trapezium, which is from this to this. Height is 20, and the parallel sides as well. So one of the parallel side is this, and the length is from 480 to 120, which is 480 minus 120. This will give me one parallel side, and the other parallel side is this, which is 600. So this one is 360, the other is 600. Height is 20. You could have also split it into rectangles and triangles and added the area. So in order to find the total distance, I'm using the trapezium. Half into height is 20 into sum of parallel sides, which is 600 plus 360. 2 and 20 cancelled out. I'm left with 10. 600 plus 360 is 960. So this is 9600 meters. This is the total distance traveled. Average speed, total distance is 9600 divided by total time taken is 600 seconds. See, the total time taken is 600. So the 2 zeros cancelled out, and then 6 3 2s are and 3 32s are. and ones are on 216s are. So the average speed is 16 meters per second. The next part, question number 21 of the same paper. Solid cylinder has radius x centimeters and height 7x upon 2. A solid sphere has radius r centimeter. I'll explain and relate the formula as well, which are provided on the first page. The cylinder, the surface area of the sphere is equal to the total surface area of the cylinder. Now, as it is a solid cylinder, it will have three surfaces. Surface area of solid cylinder is pi r square, and there are two circles. So I'll just multiply this by 2. Plus the curved surface area, which is 2 pi r. So this is how we cover the three surfaces of a solid cylinder. And surface area of sphere is provided, which is 4 pi r square. So now equating both these two, 4 pi r square is equals to 2 pi, the radius is x, and 2 pi radius is x, and height is 7x upon 2. So 4 pi r square is equals to 2 pi x square plus 7 pi x square. This should end up giving me the value 4 pi r square is 9 pi x square. So r square is what I need, an expression for r in terms of x, 9 pi x square upon 4 pi. Pi and pi cancelled out. R square is 9x square upon 4. I take square root on both sides. So 9x square upon 4. And the square root is 3x upon 2. So this is how I can find an expression for R in terms of x. This was question number 21. Question number 22. Y is inversely proportional. I'll again attempt it through two ways. When we know if two quantities are inversely proportional, their product is constant. So first and foremost, the basic generic way which the students prepare, y is inversely proportional to x plus 1 squared. Whenever we remove the proportionality sign, we use a constant. When y was 5, x was 1. So 5 into 2 plus square is 4. So the value of k is 20. Y is equals to 20 upon x plus 1 whole squared. So 20 upon x value is 9. So y is 20 upon 10 square is 100. Y is 0.2. You can leave the answer in fraction as well, 1 upon 5 or 0.2. Another way of doing the same question is when we know that quantities are inversely proportional, their product is constant. So y1 and x1 plus 1 whole squared. This is one set of value, the product of one set of values, y2 and x2 plus 1 whole squared. This is the other set of values. So I do not know y when x is 9. And I know that y is 5 when x is 1. So y will be equal to 5 into 2 ka square upon 10 ka square, because it's multiplying on the left side. When it comes on the right, it will divide. So this is again 5 into 4 upon 100. You can simplify. 5 ones are 20s are 1 upon 5 is your answer, or you can write it as 0.2. So these are the two ways of figuring out the values. Moving on to question number 23, which is regarding rationalizing the denominator. Simplify fully by rationalizing the denominator. In these cases, how do we rationalize the denominator? We multiply the denominator by its conjugate. So 45 divided by square root of 6 plus 1. We want to rationalize the denominator. So I'll multiply this by square root of 6 minus 1. So I'll also have to multiply the numerator by the same thing. This will be difference of square root of 6 squared minus 1 squared. And 45 will multiply by square root 6 minus 1. I'm deliberately not multiplying 45 right now because if any cancellations are possible, it will be easy for them done in this way. 6 square root of 6 minus 1, and this will be 6 minus 1, which is 5. So 45 into square root of 6 minus 1 upon 5. I can cancel out this 5 and 45 and I'll be left with a 9. I can leave the answer like this, or I can say it's 9 root 6 minus 9. Both answers are perfectly fine and acceptable. Moving on to question number 24. So question number 24 is about vectors. The question has provided us with vectors. Some of you prefer start from the unknown and then move on to your known ones. I try to use that method. The question has given us the vector OC is C. So it has told us when you go from O to C, this is entirely C. And when you go from O to D, this entire vector is D. And it has told us M is the midpoint of TC and OT is double that of TD. That means if TD is 1, OT is 2. So the entire length is divided into 3 parts. One part, if TD gets 1 part, OT gets the double of it. OT is double of TD. And now I need to find the position vector of M, which means that I need to find OM. This is what I'm looking for. I need OM. OM is what I need. So in order to find OM, I'll need to find other vectors. I have nothing right now. I cannot go from O to M. So if I find TC first, how do I find TC? TC, because M lies on TC, that is the reason I'm trying to find TC first. TC can be found by taking TO plus OC. So TC, TO is 2/3 and it is the opposite direction. So it is 2/3 of D, negative 2/3 of D, and OC is C. This is how we can find TC. And now we know that TM is basically half of TC because it lies in the middle. So TM is half of TC. This is the vector TC that we just found. So if I simplify this and I multiply both of them by half, half will also multiply by negative 2/3 of D, and half will also multiply by C. So once you simplify this, you will get Tm as negative 1/3 of D plus half of C. This is Tm, and we needed to find Om. Now, once we have Tm, we can just use this to find Om, which is OT plus Tn. Again, there were many different ways of doing the same question as well. I have just opted for this one. OT is again 2/3 of P plus, and Tm is the entire thing, negative 1/3 D plus half C. Now we can simplify this because we have to, the question says so. So it is 2/3 D minus 1/3 D, which leaves me with 1/3 D and plus half C. So this is the vector OM that the question was asking for. Again, there were other ways of attempting the same question as well. I have opted for this one. You could have also gone from CM and then OC plus CM and still got to the same answer as well. Okay, moving on to the last question. So going on to the last question, please be very careful with the steps in this one because there are very high chances of error at the level of algebra that is involved in this question. So the first thing that we'll do is we'll take LCM on the left side, which is x minus 4, x plus 1. So x, this is multiplying by x plus 1. So the numerator will also multiply by x plus 1. 9 will multiply by x minus 4. Be very careful with the denominator. First, let's just expand the denominator. X squared plus x minus 4x minus 4. Numerator x squared plus x plus 9x minus 36 is equals to 2. Please make sure to simplify the like terms or else you'll be making things very messy for yourself. Minus 3x minus 4. This is x squared plus 10x minus 36 is equals to 2. So now the denominator goes on the other side. It was dividing over here. It will multiply with 2x squared minus 3x minus 4, which means x squared plus 10x minus 36 is 2x squared minus 6x minus 8. I'll take on the entire left side on the right side, which means 0, 2x squared plus x squared will go on the right side and will subtract minus 6x minus 10x minus 8 and plus 36. Now x squared minus 16x plus 24 is equals to 0. This is the equation that 28 is equals to 0. This is the equation that we should end up with. Now, in order to solve this, we can use the middle term breaking 28, and this is x squared. So two numbers that multiply to give me 28. 28 ones are, that will not use to break 16. 14 twos are, I can obviously use that. Minus 14x minus 2x plus 28 is 0. X common, x minus 14. Minus 2 common, x minus 14. And then it is 0. X minus 14, x minus 2 is 0. So either x minus 14 is 0, x minus 2 is 0. So x is either 14 or x is equals to 2. So these are the two values that we can end up with. And that's it for this paper. If you want any more papers solved, please let me know in the comment section. Or if you need any help with any other topic, please feel free to reach out.